Oh shit! It's full of cops. All right, so I should have got myself ready before. Hold on, guys. Hey, who's here? What's up, time surfing alien? How's it going? Can you hear me okay? So, there we go. That's a little better anyway. Oh, okay. I forgot to hold on with the with the delay. I got to remember to sit back and wait. So I'm just waiting for a couple more people to come in, and then we're going to really get going here. I've got a couple of things, uh, I don't know, planned, but well, I got an announcement. I definitely got to make. Oh, Snug, how you doing, buddy? How's everything? So I'm keeping this simple today. The um, last couple of times, things got a little choppy. So I didn't set up OBS or anything this time. I just set up the camera with YouTube, and maybe that'll be better. So, is there a lot of white noise? Because I got the AC on. It's just another one of those hot days here. But I can turn it off for a little while if I need to. So, since you guys are the first ones here, I'm going to talk more about this later. But I got some stuff in the body for the guitar. I'm good. Had a late night family dinner last night, so no problem. Hey, no problem. No problem. I appreciate you coming as long as you can stay. All right, so maybe it works better with YouTube. Maybe it's less sensitive. Maybe it's the compression. YouTube has a ton of compression. So check this out. There you go. I gotta fix the lighting a little. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah. That better? What do you think? Now, you guys got to understand, that's a bass bridge. So that's going to be coming off. It's just there to help with the visual and help me place the guitar bridge when it finally fucking gets here. Hey, JMK 2112, thanks for joining me. Is the 2112 for Rush 2112? I had to ask. Thanks for joining us. So here you're getting an early peek. So check it out. I know you guys probably saw this in the video, because of course you all watched the video, right? But yeah, so we got this is that's the volume knob, kill switch, but it's going to be a tone control, not a volume knob. Excuse me, it's going to be a tone control. There's going to be no volume on this. I've changed my mind. I was looking up the wiring diagrams. The ones that don't have volume usually need extra EQing somewhere along the line. So, and I don't want to make this a difficult guitar to use. I want to be able to make it as plug and play as possible. So the way to go is to keep the tone pot so that I can keep the capacitor to help tame that little bit of high end or whatever it is, that extra noise that happens if you don't have the capacitor. All right, so it's going to be tone control, kill switch. This guy here, well, I'll explain him in a second. First, I've fallen in love with this switch right here. You hear that? That is three-way on, off, on switch that comes with this big baseball bat style toggle. And it's a tiny switch that uses a huge hole, which is great for a build like this, because I don't want to have to do any extra drilling if I don't have to, right? Normally these holes are 11 millimeters. This takes a 12 millimeter hole. This little guy here takes like a 5 millimeter hole. All right, so if he didn't come with all sorts of extra washers to adapt them to small, bigger holes, he'd have been a pain in the ass, but he went right in. This guy comes with everything you need. You just got to ream it out a little bit, and this is a huge step up from a regular on off on DP DT mini switch. I'm happy I purchased that. I bought it originally just because it would be a difference. If you can't see what you're doing, at least you can feel that, oh, this is a fat bat type of toggle, and this one is tiny. And this little guy right here, that's the secret weapon. That's the difference maker. Okay? And it's also the reason why you kind of need to have an off position, because you got no volume control, right? Well, thanks, Snug. I appreciate that you like. I was a little concerned with that because it does kind of look, not finished. You know what I mean? So some people will like it, some people won't. I thought it was an interesting idea, and was pretty sure that it would work visually at least, so I went with it. But thanks. So back to this. So we got this guy here, one switch, 20 decibels of boost. So you're just kicking it up a whole other notch when you add that. It's like having a tube screamer built into your guitar. True. That's true. Easier than repairing the whole body. Yeah, repainting the whole body. Yeah, definitely. But it was weird. It came to me as a visual, you know. It wasn't this so much. It was the visual of the idea that of the story that would take place to explain this. And I know that sounds weird. The creative mind, you know what I'm saying? But it's all right. So the way I came up to explain this was to actually just come up with the story. It's like the unknown builder of this guitar, right? Goes to bed after being just about done, except he's got to finalize the intonation. Goes to bed knowing he can't play it tonight for the first time, so he might as well just go to bed and finish everything in the morning. Goes to bed and suddenly hears the guitar being played in his studio in the middle of the night. And he runs down there, opens the door, and he sees a figure, long, curly, brown, blackish hair, playing the guitar, bathed in white light, wearing a robe, and it's kicking ass all over this guitar, and the guitar sounds phenomenal. And then it's so phenomenal that it starts to glow at the horn and at the place where the cutaway for the 24th fret access, and then you smell it, burning wood, and you realize then he realizes it's being charred. And then just as he's about to be able to make out the figure behind the light, the figure flies away, leaving the guitar behind. But not before the builder's able to catch a glimpse of what's under the robe. And it looks like a pair of pants, bell bottoms, and they got that red, black, and white stripe pattern on them. And I know that sounds silly, right? I came up with all that to explain this. Is the boost switch in series with the on-off? Can you hit it whenever? I don't know. Yeah, well, that's the goal. I'm not the wiring expert, and this is a bit of a unique thing. I wouldn't even try and mess around with this for my first project. This one's a little advanced. So I got a friend of mine. I already told him. My friend over at the local music store, Castellano's House of Music. He's I wouldn't call him a guy who eats and sleeps this stuff, but he's been doing it for a while now because he's at that shop. So I've let him know that I need him to look around and come up with an idea of how to wire this thing. I've come up with a couple of ways too, but they all are basically a switch and one tone control. That's the layout. None of them have this, so he's gonna have to figure that out. But it's actually pretty easy. There's a layout that I have access to, that anyone has access to online, that shows you how to wire this into a basic setup on a Strat and a couple other guitars. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to do. But you know what? You know what was interesting, and you already saw the video, so you know this. Battery compartment. I was like, what do I do for the battery? This thing is small. It's got a tiny cavity, right? So where do I hide the battery? If I'm going to do this, put this switch in, A, is the switch going to fit? And B, is the battery where am I going to put it? And then it dawned on me. This needs to be used, this here, right? So hold on. Charge my battery for the drill. Other way. Take this out real quick. show you what I did. All right, you're not seeing all this in the video. All right, you're not going to see a lot of this in the video. This is beyond what I did in the video. All right, I should have these on. So, boost for solos without needing to hit a pedal. Yes, JMK, absolutely. That's the idea. And I wouldn't have done this if the battery was going to be drained like every night. If it was going to be one of those nightmare situations, hell no. I had a couple of other ideas that don't require a battery that I was going to look into. And if I had to at first, I would have just wired up the guitar with just the tone control and the on switch, and figured the other thing out later, because you know what I mean. I don't need it right away. I'm trying to. It's almost a proof of concept for this guitar, right? So to a certain extent, in my mind, it's can you do it? Can you turn the baby bass into a guitar? Well, we're finding that out now, and it's also about a proof of concept of an idea. You know what I mean? Making. I could have just thrown 2 pickups in here, volume and a tone, and been done. Or I could have tried to do something a little different. Try and do something that's a little forward thinking. You know, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. I just like the idea that it's taking those original ideas from the Frankenstrat and trying to move them forward a little bit, you know, to go to another step with them, or something like that. You know what I mean? At least that's the inspiration behind it. So this comes out. All right. This, you know, this screws in like normal, but it only uses 2 screws now because I had to take some stuff. Let me show you. So now we got a battery compartment in here. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to give you guys the lighting isn't perfect. Sorry about that, but I routed out all in here. It's been routed out, I'd say about 1/4 of an inch, a little more than 1/4 of an inch, most of the way through, most of this whole thing. And I ran the battery through the wiring route, and it makes it all the way down here. All right. So there's that. But then I wouldn't have been able to hide it if it didn't fit inside the pickup cover, which is from the original pickup that was in here. Yeah, the Frankenstrat, right. So problem is, the battery is just slightly thinner than this. It's basically the width of this whole thing minus one side, the thickness of one side. So it's just too thick to fit this way. Right? By putting it in here, you can fit it, but it bulges, and you can't get it in. You can't get all of it to fit in the routing. So I did this. I took off the whole front, basically, minus this. And then I realized I was going to need a little bit more room to make sure that I don't clip the wires on the 9-volt battery wire. So then I clipped that out as well. Can you see that? Yeah, that there. All right, so that's an extra notch. And then just in case I'm a dummy, I put another notch on the other side that just matches this. Okay, just to replicate what this does on the other side. That's it. So this doesn't really hide everything because one side's actually missing. If you look on the other side, you can see the battery, but it does the job, right? And I think it's overall, it's a pretty good solution to the situation. Spell it that way intentionally for Jankenstrat. Oh, okay, now I get it, because it's a bit janky, right? Yeah, I get it. Hey, it works. Do you know the whole story? Or at least from what I heard, he originally it was still wet. The paint job was still wet when he had to use it that night, and it was a showcase. I think it was the show that supposedly Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley saw them at. If I'm remembering it correctly. No RJ in the way. Oh, right. Okay. Wow, I took that to left field, didn't I? Yeah. All right. That's great. I got that. That's great. I like that. Hey, is can anybody tell me if um Time Surfing Alien is still here? So I want to stop this for a second. I got a special announcement. You guys are here. I'm gonna just do it now. If you're here, Time Surfing, and while I wait for that, I'm just gonna put this back in here and cover this thing up. So now, I wish this thing was done already. It should be done already. The reason it's not is because the bridge isn't here yet. It's going to come tomorrow, finally. I ordered it along with everything else that I ordered for this build. And they held off on shipping it for 5 days. I think it was 2 days before they responded to the fact that I even placed the order. And then it was 3 or 4 days that they had sent it out to USPS through another shipper. I have no clue, but it literally says like a company name on there. I won't mention the name, but they had it for like 4 days, and then suddenly it was at the post office, and then now it's being sent from California or something like that. I forget exactly, but come on, this was supposed. I had that switch came from China, and it's here days before this, and they actually pushed back the shipping date once. So I'm not exactly happy. Here we go. We're all back together. So yeah, these switches. This is gonna be an animal. I actually found someone on YouTube who actually has put this in a guitar already, and it's pretty much like I explained it. It doesn't sound bad. I don't know that it actually sounds like a tube screamer. It doesn't sound like a blues driver though. So uh, I'm thinking this is going to be great for like classic 80s Eddie style leads, Joe Satriani, all that stuff. And especially with the hot rail, is because this pickup is going to be hot. It's going to be well-rounded as far as tone goes, but it's going to have good mid-range punch while having good bottom end and good highs, exceptional highs actually. So it's gonna sound great, and it's gonna be a hell of a screamer. I'm actually really excited about this pickup. I really can't wait to actually hear it. Yeah, uh, yeah, you're right, JMK. It'll definitely add mids, and that's going to make it perfect for lead tones, because whenever you're playing around with a mix, or at least this is what I've heard, you got to it's the mids that separate you from everything else in the mix, right? This is why they prefer P basses, because P basses have that bass mid range that really cuts through the mix, and a good lead tone isn't scooped. That's when it gets muddy. And scoop tones don't travel as well as full bodied rounder tones. So you're always better off having more mid range in your lead tone, and that's why you'll always hear lead players like, well, let's use Kirk Hammett as an example. His tone is always different than James's tone. If you hear isolated tracks of Kirk, his guitars don't sound like James's. They sound very thick still, but they have a lot more bite to them, right? Where James's doesn't. So yeah, so this is going to be well suited for lead. I just want to now. I want to be able to build one with a body that has the bridge pickup like a Strat, and doesn't have this here. You know what I mean? Or if it has another route, it would be one closer to here, closer to the neck, so that I could have the two hot rails. You know, kind of like a telly, right? That kind of setup, but with two hot rails. So All right. Well, I don't see Time Surfing Alien here. He dropped in real quick when I first started. I guess he left. That's a bit unfortunate because you guys know about the 10K subscriber drive giveaway, right? I mean, I've been doing it for a while. The last month or so, I've kind of not pushed it as much as I should have. Definitely should have been doing it. But the goal was to get to 10,000 subscribers and then start doing a giveaway. But it's taken months and it really hasn't gone that well. The channel's grown a bit, but not much more than it would have without it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But so I'm calling the contest and I'm going to declare a winner of the guitar. And once I'm done shipping the guitar, I'm going to start giving away the other stuff. All right. I've already got a few people in mind for the other stuff. But the person that we're talking about right now, right now we're talking about the guitar. So the person that wins the guitar is going to be Time Surfing Alien. He was coming to every video, letting me know he was there. He was commenting on every video for a long time. And he's the first person to hang out at the live shows. Even when I was just jumping on, he was there. And so he's the one that got my attention the most. And that was how it was going to play out. And so Time Surfing Alien, if you hear this, you see this, please go to the community page for RJ's Cave. Up in the header is my information, contact information. Please email me your address so that I can send you this guitar. All right. I'm not going to try and give it to anybody else, but because I know you're around. So please get in touch with me. All right. Give me your address so that I can send this to you. I just need to do one thing before I send it out. That is, I'm going to swap the volume control that's in there. It's a volume control kill switch, but much like I was going to put in here, except it's actually a tone pot. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't have put it in that guitar in that way, and I didn't realize at the time what it was. It was only after it went in that I realized. So I was okay with that at that point, but now there's an opportunity to set things right and set two guitars right at the same time. Because when I ordered the pot for this one, I ordered a volume pot. I ordered the correct pot this time. But then I changed my plan. So I need a tone pot. So I'm going to fix both of these guitars and make them right. So I just need long enough for that to get done. It should only take about a week, maybe 2 weeks. I'm going to bring it over to the place tomorrow. And then a few days later, hopefully, I'll be dropping this off and picking that up. Because they're going to wire this up, and it might take a few days. Well, it might take a couple of weeks. Excuse me. Yes, no, I hope he's going to be coming back in too. So, and I asked him, I actually was able to communicate with him earlier today. And I asked him, hey, be sure you're going to stop by. And he said he would. He did, but I guess, I guess it's late, So anyway, so back to it. Please, Time Surfing Alien, contact me through my information on my header on the community page. I need your information, and hopefully within 2 weeks this guitar will be sent to you. All right. And then once that's done, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff to be given away. I've got is it a mixer? Yeah, I think I got the mixer. I've got so much, and it's been so long since I sat down and looked at it all. I'm not exactly sure what I have. There's definitely a user interface, a PC interface like the 2i2, but it's not the 2i2. It's a decent setup, so somebody might be able to use that. There's going to be two different guitar wireless systems, the two dongle setups. I got a couple of those that are pretty good. I'll make sure that they're working too, because they've been sitting in their boxes for a while. And I pulled one of them out. I actually have three. I'm keeping one. And uh, I pulled one of them out, and it wasn't very good. But it was also the first time I'd done anything like that in this apartment, so it might have been some kind of interference. So I'm going to make sure. There's a couple other things as well. Somebody out there is going to get a strap. Trying to remember the name of it. It's the fuzzy one. Um, so I have one of those, and it's cool. It's just not big enough for me because I got a gut so, um, and that's basically brand new. And everything's brand new. I did reviews and all this stuff, and then it just kind of sat around. So I'm going to just make sure everything works, and I'm going to start giving away. And it's the same kind of thing. People who've been doing the work, I'm going to double check the comments, and I know who's coming to these. Yeah, I have both. JMK. I actually have a Facebook and an Instagram. I have a Facebook page that I'm actually on one daily, pretty much. But I also have a group which I need help with. I have a Facebook group that I can use a moderator for. I also have an Instagram that I can use moderation for. And because I get a little preoccupied, and I guess I'm just too old school to really get into all that. So I know I need to do it, and I could use some help. Moderation. If there's anybody out there who would like to become a moderator for the group and help bring that along, that'll motivate me to actually show up every so often. Yeah, that's kind of my problem too, JMK. I'm old and I'm not savvy with that stuff either. We didn't grow up with it, right? It's not as important to us to be connected to people that way, and that's kind of the way things are going. And so it's the people who grew up with the cell phones in their hands from the time that they're 3, that this is their time with that stuff. So I need a couple of those people to help me out here. If I'm willing to work for free. So, yeah, but so I was going to try, if you guys are going to stick around, I was going to try and put this neck on this guitar. I'd have to run out of the room for a second. I got to go pick up a clamp. But if I do that, let's see. It's not snug enough to just force it in and let it stay in. I got to hold it in like this. That's what it's going to look like, guys. So I know with the oddball stuff going on here in the body, it's never going to be super beautiful. But I'll be happy if this thing can blow people away. Right? You bring it out and people are like, what the fuck is that thing? And then you blow away, people do eruption or, pick a solo, right? Go surfing with the alien or something like that. And then forget it. People will just be like, oh no. And then you can blow them away a little more with the switch. Right? And yeah, I think there are shredders out there who would be happy to play this, I think. So I just hope we can get the wiring right. That's gonna be the one thing, the make or break. So yeah, you know what? I'd have to completely disassemble this right now in order to do the next. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to be off tomorrow, and I'm going to be off Tuesday. So there's a chance I'll pop in live during the day, just to do it and show off the guitar real quick. I don't know. I might do that. I was thinking about doing that. So, oh yeah, and one other thing, I almost forgot. There's a chance. I'm not guaranteeing anything yet because it's a little early. I probably shouldn't be saying anything at all. There's a chance I might be getting a set of tuners. High, I won't say super high end, but very high end looking, classy set of tuners for this guitar from Geiger. And they hit me up with an email, and I sent them a response saying basically, yeah, I'd love to work with you guys. And they actually mentioned the build specifically. We want to help you with your guitar. So I was like, oh, Geiger wants to help me with my guitar. Oh, okay. So thanks for the heads up, Snug. Time Surfing Alien, are you here, bro? Well, whoever's here, say hi, because I'd like to know who's here. If it happens to be Time Surfing Alien, let me know. Yeah, the tuners that Geiger is great stuff. The tuners and bridges especially. Yeah, I think their tuners is what really got them off the ground, because they were at one point essentially a name brand selling among all the non-name brand parts, right? The factory direct parts, let's call them. And then their price started ticking up because they were separating themselves. They started doing 18-to-1 tuners, and the gear ratios were not only great, the tuners themselves weren't mush, and they started doing classier looking stuff. And now I love the gold with the blue and the gold with the red. Oh, I saw that email, and I just wanted them to send me the gold and the red ones right away. But if it goes through, if it happens, and I don't want to jinx things, if it happens though, then it'll be a set of tuners that look like they don't have these. They look like machined, knurled knobs, and not these buttons. Almost like gears, but then they're like lat long, right? So you can get your hands on them. Yeah, they're kind of like knockoff Gotos, right? They do use those buttons a lot, right? Those shapes. So yeah, definitely Gotos, but more than that. Now you're right, more than that. And some of the stuff is so classy looking. The whole idea of the colors with the gold, freaking brilliant idea, right? And they're not that expensive. They're right up there with a decent set of, I think, Gotos, right? 60, $70, a decent set of Fenders. The ones I'm getting are the Fender type, the ones that have the buttons in the front, so there's no screws. So that's why I haven't locked these in. I haven't put any screws in here or anything, because I don't want to commit to these until I find out more. So I'll leave them in here, and I'll use them to set everything up. But as soon as I find out I'm getting those tuners, which is tonight, sometime soon, or tomorrow, I think, right? Because the people I speak to are generally about 18 to 24 hours ahead of me. So these people in China. Oh yeah, right. What's up, Das Faust? How you doing, buddy? I guess that was you popping in, huh? Yeah. Oh yeah, these are all little. Yeah, I can move them. See, so yeah, so they're just in there for show right now, right? It's like everything else. So Das Faust, did you see it yet? I haven't bolted it in yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But there you go. For anybody who hasn't seen what it's going to look like, that's pretty much it. Obviously, this bridge is going to be a 6-string bridge and not a 4-string. But I'm happy with the progress that's been made. I wish more progress has been made. I'm going to blame the people who haven't sent me that bridge just because it's easy. But yeah, I'm anxious. There's a lot going on here that if everything falls into place with the wiring, I am confident this guitar is going to sound fucking awesome. And I want other people to play it besides me too. So I'm going to try and. You did a fret scallop? Sorry, guys. JMK just piped in. I put one of those necks on an Ibanez body and scallop frets 17 to 24. I guess I don't have to read these things, right? You guys see them too. But yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I hope you didn't go too deep on the scallop. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the pictures on the internet of those really crazy scallop jobs. But yeah, so that's where we are with this. Time Surfing Alien, are you here? All right. That just makes it more frustrating because he was here real early. I jumped on like 10 minutes early. So, oh, there is one other thing I want to talk to you guys about. I am going to be organizing this live into a podcast. Or at least that's kind of what it's going to be like, because once you start organizing a hangout in a situation like this where it's a stream, it kind of becomes a podcast, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right, Faust. I wouldn't try one myself either. I have had my hands on a neck that's had it done. It feels weird. It's so smooth, so resistance free. It's just wild. It's like, I guess it's the equivalent of like playing like you're tight on a tightrope. You know, there's like nothing there. So, I'm trying to remember where I was now. So, collab vid would be cool to see some other channels play that thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And I was also thinking if I could get the money together, what would be really cool is the next build to have Sean over at Scar My Guitar make me this body with the changes I want. Okay, well that's good to know, JKM, because that makes sense though, because you're pressing down into enough space where you could easily press beyond what would be the fretboard, right? So that kind of makes sense. And then on the real narrow frets, there's not enough space for you to have enough strength to push down enough to go that far, right? So yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm thinking about having, if I had the money, I would have Sean from Scar My Guitar make me this body. I would probably send him this instrument and then tell him make me a new body and put this as a like a Strat, and then put a neck pickup up here. Put a neck pickup route up here for a hot rail. Excuse me. And then I would do one other thing different. I would upgrade from the switch to a dial. Artec makes this, and they also make a version of this that has a dial where you can actually incrementally turn up the boost. So it's bypass, which is normal, and then you have like 6 decibels of boost, 10 dB, then it goes to 14 dB, and then it goes to 20, which I think is awesome. But given the spirit of this build, I wanted to switch. So the next build I do, I want to have that. And the next build I do, if I can do one, again, it's all about money, is I would redo this idea, probably with 2 hot rails, the tone control, the switch, not the switch, excuse me, the dial I was just talking about, and the 3-way. I probably have to upgrade that, though. I'd have to think about that. So it might be a rotary dial, so I can do 6 or 4 or something like that. So I would definitely want to do that, and then have that be an upgraded version of this. I'd also like to get a body that's just one bridge route, one Strat style bridge route, and that's it. Same control layout. I like the challenge of that. So, right? Turbo boost, right? From Knight Rider. Yeah, there was a time when just having that done would have cost a small fortune. It's amazing how far we've come with the cost of things as far as building. I mean, I'm sure, and I don't want to try and quote prices for somebody else, so don't quote me on anything. But I'm sure getting a custom body made from Sean might be two, even $300. I don't know, even a little more. I really don't. I don't know what he would charge, but it would be well worth it for somebody to have somebody make a custom body for them, even if that's all they did, and then you do the rest of the build with parts you buy off the shelf. Come on, that's awesome. That's an awesome idea. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get in touch with Sean and do that. But I'd still have another short one here, and I still want to do one more like that. Then I'm thinking it would be another one like this, but and you guys who, oh yeah, I'm doing one other upgrade to this when it happens. This here, I've had to change the screws several times to get it right. So there's a lot of holes in it now. So I ordered another one so that I could change it out and make it look pretty. Okay. So Stone, was it? I guess it wasn't that bad. It's the first time. So I might have to go like this for a while. I don't know. Has there been any other issues? Have you guys had a lot of choppiness in this video so far? So, Das Faust, yes, I'm in New York. I guess my accent wasn't a big enough. Right? So, okay. All right. Well, that's good. I don't know if you were here last week, JMK, but it was looking pretty bad for a while, at least from what I could tell, because from my end, things look perfect. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot where I was. Now I forgot where I was when I said where I forgot where I was. Okay. All right. So then So um so yeah, I'm sorry this thing hasn't been moving faster, guys. I've wanted this to be I'm anxious. I want this to be done. I want to go around. If I had things go well with the shipping company, because I found a place that actually will allow me to ship uh, relatively inexpensively, or at least that's the way it seems. So I'm going to see about setting that up so that I can send this to Time Surfing Alien, and then I'll learn more about what's going on with that. But there's potential for me to do a lot, and my mind. Yeah, the good things do take time, but um, it just feels everything just feels so right. You know what I mean? I start getting anxious. Um, my only question is going to be strengths. Will they go over everything? It looks like they will. My concern is the bridge. The base bridge, is a lot taller. So I got to see just how high up I can get that bridge to go. It's possible I may actually have to take some of the veneers that I've got, laminate them together, or buy myself a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch veneer and laminate that onto this guitar body to make it higher. I don't think so. I don't actually. I could probably. There's other options I could probably do too, but I'll figure that out if I need it. I'll figure that out if I need to. So we're at 45 minutes, guys. This has been pretty cool so far. So, oh, I remember what I was trying to talk about earlier. The podcast. I'm going to bring this all together as basically it's going to be a podcast, right? Just a one-man podcast. So I don't know how much podcasting this podcast is going to do, but I'm going to try and organize things. I'm going to try and have an idea or two coming in, segment maybe here or there, that kind of thing. And it's going to be called the Mods Without Fear podcast. So, and hopefully it takes off. We're going to basically be doing things the way we've always been. Well, not like we've been doing it forever. So, but, yeah, see, I lost my train of thought again. Das Faust has been rebuilding, upgrading an older 3D printer. Yeah, one step forward, 2 steps back is usually the way things go. Pardon me, guys. Boss did something today she never does. She called me and asked me to come in early. Yeah, I'm definitely putting this together tomorrow. I'm gonna record whatever I do tomorrow with this guitar, so you guys will see it. But I'm definitely gonna be putting this guitar together tomorrow. The bridge should be here sometime before 9 p.m. tomorrow. Let's hope it doesn't take till 9 p.m. I'll go nuts. So that's that. And I'm also thinking about doing a website. Mods Without Fear. I like that. Snug, you know what? When you're talking about building and repairing, this is about as easy as building and repairing gets. It is. That's not an exaggeration. The wiring thing, I'm basically an idiot. I'm going to get it down. I'm going to buy a soldering gun and I'm going to start trying to do things myself, and I'm going to get it down. And I've actually already ordered. I've actually already gotten a multimeter, so that's a start. But they're really not that hard. I mean, especially today with YouTube, you can watch guys like me doing this shit all day long, and you can buy a full kit that you can sit there and screw up everything on, and if you can get one for less than $100. So if you want to play around, I would say go with that. Honestly, everything's so cheap, it's easy to replace. And then the parts, most accomplished builders won't use any of those parts. Not that they're garbage. A lot of them are, but they already know what they want in these guitars. So when they buy the kits, they're not even using those parts. So you can consider those throwaway parts that you can learn on. So if you screw something up, it's no loss. If you think about it like that, replacing them is part of the process, and then they're the ones you learn on. And then if you fuck them up, it don't matter. You're going to replace them anyway. The whole point is to use them to fuck up on. I got a guitar with 2 humbuckers. I got a P94 to put in the neck. Nice. However, it plays nice, and I'm scared of ruining it. Okay, so it sounds like you're worried about taking it apart, right? Because you're not familiar with some of those processes. Well, you won't ruin the setup by taking it apart. Okay? The only thing you're going to have to redo is the pickup height for the new pickup. So I would suggest, I get distracted by what you guys talking, and I lose my spot. So I'm trying to remember my spot. So the wiring and soldering is it's 1950s technology, right? We got to remember that, and we got to remember that when we don't know something, we are clueless. So we make things harder than they are, right? Because we simply have no clue. We make them bigger in our heads. We can't help it. It's natural. So the thing to do here is to realize that it is 1950s technology. Your toaster is more complicated than your electric guitar, right? So try to approach it with that mentality. And the parts are cheap. So you can, if you screw up a potentiometer, you fuck up a volume pot, you can buy another one, or hell, you could buy a pack of 10 for like $10. So it does. You don't have to be so afraid. Now's the time when you should be screwing up. And I need to take my own advice in this department too. Right? Yes, JMK is right. The solderless stuff makes everything easier. I think the only time, most of the time, not all the time these days, but most of the time, the only thing you have to worry about is one soldering point, and that's a ground that goes to where your tremolo is, if you have a tremolo. If you don't have a tremolo, you're putting a ground underneath your bridge plate. The only thing you got to remember with that is to sand off the finish so that it touches actual metal. Right? So a lot of times you can do these things pretty easy. As a matter of fact, you can buy wireless kits, solderless kits on places like Guitar Fetish. So there's plenty available to learn on. Excuse me. I don't know. Yeah. Well, you sound like an overthinker like me. But, well, I don't have an answer for that one. I'm afraid of thinking I know more than I actually do. Um, I think by being worried about that, you're not going to have to worry about that. That's what I think about that. The fact that you're worried about that is telling me that you're not the type of person who's going to walk into that situation, or you have in the past, so you've learned from it. So um, just go in, get with all the information you've gathered, and just know that there's going to be fuck ups beyond that. There's going to be situations beyond that. Because let's face it, even when someone tells you how to do something, they can't tell you all the things that can happen. So just trust in yourself, trust in your brain, your human brain, that can imagine and visualize things in 3 dimensions is going to get you through that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've heard that one too. And someone used to tell me that every so often that I was dropped as a baby once or twice on my head, so right. Yeah, just get clean at soldering. That's a simple thing to do. And if you happen to have a shitty guitar lying around with a broken potentiometer or something that's dirty, something you're going to replace, practice on that. You got to practice tinning, which is making sure you have solder on the tip of your soldering gun so that the solder comes off clean and makes a clean connection. And aside from that, the trick I think is not leaving the soldering iron on the spot you're getting to. You need to let the solder heat up from the place you're heating up, and then pull away. This allows you to make sure you don't burn the material you're soldering to and damage it, stuff like that. So, but I don't really know. It's been forever since I tried. I want to try again. I am personally going to try again. In the meantime, yeah, look that stuff up, get an idea of what you should be going in and kind of expecting, but go in knowing that you don't know what the hell you're doing, so you don't even know how to expect what you should be expecting, and you'll get through it. Well, maybe you need another iron. You shouldn't use a super hot iron with this kind of stuff anyway. So get one that's like 40 watts, 30 to 40 watts. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I never realized I was this sleepy. Um, but yeah, just don't use one that's high heat, and you'll be fine. And make sure you don't use acid solder. Solder with an acid core, you don't want. That's plumbing stuff. You want to make sure you get the right stuff with the 6040 rosin core. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Get one with a temp control, or just a good one that's just made to hit a certain heat. An old school one like that, like an old, I think they're called Weller or Weber. There's one or two brands out there that people swear by, and I think it's Weller is one of them. So, but yeah, definitely do that, and that's the one thing you gotta get good at, right? Everything else is just turning screws, right? A monkey can turn a screw, you know. So uh, we just can't overthink things. I'm prone to that. I'm basically the guy who, when my TV burns out, I'll spend 3 days researching all the best brands and all the best prices and figure out which one is most going to meet my needs before I go out and buy one. You know what I mean? I'll deal with watching TV on my phone for 3 days, 4 days before I figure out which one I'm going to actually buy. And then I'll go look for the cheapest version of that meets my needs. You know? So anyway, we're coming up on an hour. I'm going to go for a little longer. I know now's around the time when some people tend to start leaving, so that's fine. I'm just going to try and go as long as I can, but I'm probably going to start smoking a little weed. So if you don't mind, fine. If you do, I apologize. Uh, and so I'm going to be putting up some polls because I have some ideas for what I want to do moving forward with the podcast theme from now on, and I want to see what you guys think about that. I also want to see, there were some other things I was thinking about doing polls for. I forget now. Anyway, look for polls. Please take part in them. They really do help me out. And so, all right, now, Snug, no problem. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming by. Appreciate you. Okay, no problem, JMK. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you stopping by. Please stop by often, guys. Keep an eye out because I still haven't figured out everything with this. I don't know how to make the announcements yet that say I'm live or going live. So keep an eye out. And if you can help me out with those polls, awesome. I got a couple things coming. Hopefully, at least one next week video, and of course every Sunday night. Thanks for coming. And well, maybe it's time then. Maybe it is time to say goodnight. You still here, Faust? So, all right. If you're tired, you want to go ahead. Oh wow. Okay. So tell me what takes 4 hours to make? I'm trying to get a size idea. If I ever get into something like that, I'm going to want to know this stuff. right? As I've seen ones that do like 15-inch figures, but they take all night. So, all right. So, adapter to replace the main board, the modern. Okay. Well, it's good that you can do that now. Sounds like you got a decent skill set with the 3D printer too. How much longer do you got to go with the 4-hour print? Okay. All right. So you're about ready for bed then. Okay. I had to break a stand off in the printer to make it fit. So, so a piece of the framework of the printer, because I know they have like a 3D box kind of framework. So something with that, I'm guessing. So, all right. So, honest opinion, what do you think of the way the guitar looks as it's coming now? It's a tube that a screw used to go. Okay, I think I see that what you're talking about. You basically you broke that off. You can still put the screw in, and it can still do its job. All right. All right. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think it looks good so far. Okay. Okay. Yeah. When I ask you about the body, I just I'm pumped. So I worry about having the equivalent of beer goggles. You know what I mean? I worry about looking at it through a filtered lens, something that makes it look a little bit better than it might be. That was like used to Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're making an adapter so that the board can properly connect where it needs to connect. So, okay, right, different footprint. Okay, cool. So I think it's just you and me. So I think I may as well call it. It's just over an hour. You're getting ready to finish up what you were doing, and it's after 11 o'clock at night. So I think I'm going to call it. Thanks for stopping by. Keep an eye out. I don't know if you heard, but I'm going to try to. I might try to go live tomorrow or Tuesday for a little while. Uh, so keep your eyes peeled. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of cutting you off in the middle of your conversation here. I'm sorry. There are wildly varying hole patterns over the years for printer boards. Right. I'm not. I know you're talking about PC boards and different patterns and things like that. So, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not so hardcore into it that I can visualize everything you're saying. But anyway, I'm glad you got everything done, and I will talk to you soon. I will. Hopefully, you guys will see me again soon, and take it easy, Faust. Later. I'm gonna turn this off as soon as I can. End stream. Later.